last time on Dragon Ball Z.
What the fuck? Hey, watch this. Are they moving? I can't tell.
And now, the conclusion.
He just kind of gets over hating her, though, after a while. Kurono himself starts off as a total, like, self-centered dingus who he kind of instinctually heads into situations heroically, and in the back of his mind he's wondering, like, why the fuck am I doing this? But then eventually he just becomes a full-on hero. His girlfriend is actually someone he left for dead when an alien follows him back into his life and just slaughters his class. He's like, you know what, I'm not gonna deal with this. And he walks out and lets the class die, which a lot of the kids in his school are straight sociopaths. They throw a motherfucker out a window at one point, and so he leaves them. And his girlfriend's just sitting there all innocently, and she manages to survive. And he kind of just keeps her as his girlfriend and actually grows to like her. And I just noticed Cat. She's my girlfriend. Yeah, he grows and evolves, and another cat has approached. There's a lot of character growth for him. His friend that died with him and joined the game with him was always kind of heroic and cool. There's a big beef man who they end up calling Muscle Rider, who is like a martial artist who just shows up and can fight people and is really strong, and you slap a Gantz suit on him and he's even fucking stronger. I don't even think he really uses guns much. He fist fights motherfuckers a lot. And then there's a dude that just had ESP. He's all weird at first, and he helps this one kid who wants to kill his bullies. He helps him to develop his own ESP by, like, telekinetically fucking with a part of his brain to give him his own telekinesis and psionic powers. I don't know where the fuck that came from. There's just a lot of shit like that in this manga. Like, the big strong muscle dude's doing some, like, world game of his own making where he's just running around trying to fight somebody strong. And he fights Kurono, and Kurono uses the Gantz suit to beat him, and he's just like, that guy was strong. And then there's mass murder by one of, like, the main deuteragonists or protagonist. He's kind of iffy. Well, I guess he's more of an antagonist when he goes on to kill 300 fucking people in, I think, Shinjuku? And he does it dressed, well, not dressed, like painted up to look like a black man. He somehow has like realistic looking makeup to just look like someone completely different. And he just did it to throw people off his trail. He ends up being used as a tool like Gantz. He had been in the game before and had reached freedom, but he wanted back in and somehow made a deal with Gantz. And I'm thinking the deal was, like, it's never specified fully, but I'm thinking the deal was kill a lot of people to bring more people into the game, because Gantz keeps bringing people in. Like, in the beginning, every time they come back to the room on a new mission, there's different people in there, because they keep losing people in the game, because everything fucking murders them. And I think Izumi is his name. I think he was being used to just kill a shit ton of people to bring a shit ton of people into the game, because Gantz was getting pretty disappointed with how many people were just getting offed without killing aliens, because Gantz has some beef against aliens. He just keeps sending people after them. At one point, he sends everybody after Kurono's girlfriend, because in a hilarious moment, I don't know if it's intentional, she accidentally gets like a camera shot of one of the people on their team, and one of the rules in the game is you can't tell anybody about it. You die if you mention it. So getting your picture taken is, I guess, the same thing, and the guy's head just explodes. But they all have, like, bombs in their heads, because Gantz, I guess, implants them. Gantz is very advanced, too. It's still not clear at this point where it's from. There's a reporter that finds out it was made in Germany, and there's tons more of them. And you know by this point that there's other teams, because Gantz slaps a bunch of people together on, like, major missions when there's some powerful enemies. And the reporter has, like, a translator, because the reporter's Japanese, and they go to Germany. I think the translator might be Swedish, though. I can't remember. But he ends up being really weird. He is like pulling his face and stretching it and stuff and revealing that he's probably omnipotent and might know a bit more about Gantz than he'd been letting on. And the manufacturer of the Gantz balls was just like, yeah, I've been telling everybody about this. Like, you're not in any danger of me telling you this. Because everybody that learns just throws the story away because it's complete fucking insanity. And towards the point where I'm at, where everything's going to shit, that's when reporter John Translatorman reveals himself to possibly be behind all this. Because he's like, yeah, that lady's gonna die in a minute. And then in a minute she dies. He causes a plane crash out of fucking nowhere. A car crash. Like, he's just going ham on prophesizing things happening or making them happen. And then he just disappears. And like, Gantz does this thing when it summons people where it's like reading them with like a laser or something, starting from the top down, and they're disappearing as they're being read. And that's how this guy disappears. Like, when they get summoned back, they, you know, same thing. And it's like he's been summoned back from the game. He just fucking leaves. And the manufacturer company owner's daughter is like this morbidly obese girl who couldn't talk, but she would speak in like binary and numbers. Well, just numbers in general, I think. And they decoded the numbers, and that's where all of his info to make the Gantz balls came from, was her. He was like, oh, none of this is making sense to you? Well, I can offer you a number of explanations. Maybe she was getting, when the interpreter is talking about that, he's like, oh, maybe she was getting some kind of signal from beyond, and then he mentions other random theories, and so he starts killing people. It's so weird. Everything is just unexplained. There's a lot going on. There's so many different aliens. Like, some of the missions have hundreds of them, it seems, attacking all at once. And you kind of get the idea Gantz is there to have the aliens be eliminated. Some of the times the aliens are like, why are you doing this? And then a fucking invasion happens from these weird giant, almost somewhat human looking aliens. Like, I thought it was going to be an invasion from like a conglomerate of all the aliens they'd been killing, like their species and whatnot, because there's so many different kinds. But no, it's just new alien species shows up and fucking starts invading. My theory is Gantz was just trying to get rid of all the aliens in general, and then some civilization maybe caught wind of it, or was like something Gantz was building up to getting rid of, and it just invades on a massive scale. Like, the sky turns red, and everybody's just treating it like it's normal, too. Like, they're just going about their lives. But then, of course, America gets fucking invaded and annihilated. It's reported that America's basically just been destroyed because their military's fucking gone. And Japan just kind of resumes activities like it's nothing. Sky's red as fuck. One of the major world powers has been eliminated, but let's just keep going to school and doing things, and they find out that was a bad idea. Fucking giant aliens show up on their doorstep. It starts with enormous mechs raining down from the sky like asteroids, War of the Worlds style kind of, and they're huge, and there's tons of them just blowing cities up, and then giant people in giant, somewhat Gantz looking suits show up. There's a lot of black ink, it's hard to tell.